All right, everybody. Good morning. Rise and shine. I hope everybody's doing well. And the summer's moving fast. And it seems like I always brainstorm to do a video. And then by the time the next day comes, it switches up. My mind is sometimes, my videos say slow down, have a quiet mind. But geez. But I've been watching, in news and other media outlets about the police and when they're busting people and uh, the evidence is the money and drugs and okay, let's start from scratch. Let's just say a person gets busted, okay, and there's 5 ounces of cocaine and $30,000. They're there on the spot, on site, and one of two things can happen. They can take all that money and drugs and present it into the evidence room under lock and key until it comes to trial, and then they figure everything out. Or they can look at each other while they're at the accused house and say, let's turn in 10% of this. And for the criminal, that's fine with the criminal. Maybe you're only going to get busted with 1 ounce or 2 ounces. But so it's kind of like the criminal doesn't want to say, hey, there was 6 ounces, they took it, so you're going to incriminate yourself. So it's it's set up like that. Now, let me state a fact. I don't want to bash any law enforcement. I respect and praise the job they have to do. And whatever the media tries to sell me or whatever, and all that stuff, and then you see YouTube videos that are disgracing them because, yeah, there's isolated incidents, but it's not the norm, okay? Your people watch all this stuff and you just think it's the norm all around America, and then you make hair trigger comments and judgments. Don't be silly. Don't have a sucker mind. Don't have a sucker mind. Just because you see something up there doesn't mean it's real. So, have a little discretion in your thoughts and your judgments. In today's America, when cops are being shot and everything else, you go out there into the battle zone before you start judging these people. So I hope I hope that you realize that I have nothing against law enforcement. And I was and I had a bad experience with a couple of detectives that they were corrupt, and they busted me. And then, where was the money and drugs? Well, I was happy that they didn't turn in all the drugs I had, marijuana. And, so they get this, they bust people, they go in, and boy, some of them are looking at $50,000, $100,000 stashed in somebody's closet. And then there's valuable drugs over there. And yes, some are corrupt and they grab it and everything else, and they might split it amongst each other and not even charge the guy. Just say we didn't find anything. That's all. Leave it alone. And also there's another thing where the certain law enforcement were taking bribes. They know on that block and that block that there's a lot of drug activity, and they know who the dealers are. And every once in a while, they go meet up some discreet place and they hand them a package of money. But I don't have anything. That's isolated. It's isolated stuff. So, I try to do a thumbnail. Where's the money in drugs? I'm trying to attract viewers and stuff like that. But I was living on the West Side, and I had a police officer that was living under me. Now, he was from a powerful family that came up from New York City and New Jersey to Buffalo, and they owned real estate, they owned property, they owned grocery stores, apartments, and he lived under me, and he was my landlord. Well, his brother was my landlord, but they had access to my apartment. So I would notice sometimes, because I would do little tricks with the door and stuff to see if anybody came into my apartment. Like, I'd set something near the door and you could see if somebody opened the door. You could put a little piece of wood and just have it right there where they can, nobody be looking for that. And then if somebody opens your door, which they would all the way, you could see if that moved tremendously or not. So whenever I went home, I would open the door just a little and then get a look at that peg, if it was still close to the door as I was pushing it, or whether it was off, 7 inches, 8 inches, and stuff like that. Genius, right? But so I would notice, and then I had a little spot that went to the roof, off to the side of my apartment. This went to the roof, and it was kind of like a lot of junk and storage in there and stuff. And I also noticed, so they were coming up there and leaving drugs in my apartment, and I was trying to find them. I knew I could. 1 and 1 is 2, but it's like they risk their necks and everything else. And I mean, a criminal, a defendant, possibly in court, doesn't mind if they take the drugs. But, and if that money is connected to drug sales, then, the law says everything else. They illegal search and seized my car and found X amount of weight of marijuana. And then when it got turned in and when I went to court, it was a smaller amount, which I didn't mind. That's fine with me. Charge me with the least amount. But that case finally got sealed, and I won. I won that case, and it was sealed, and it can't be addressed or whatever. It's not for public, whatever. It was like it never happened. So, I mean, it's temptation when, these detectives go in and they rob. They rob, but, they go in and they bust out a situation and they find valuable items. I mean, they're looking through everything but the kitchen sink, and they find jewelry and gold and diamonds and drugs and money, and they get away with it. They do get away with it. And I knew a guy that got busted on the West Side. They had funny names. Cool Puerto Rican dude. I liked him, but he was a dangerous cat. And he got busted with a lot of weight. And he was crazy. And when he went in, he said, no, there was more weight than that. Somebody took it within some of the officers, the busting officers that made the arresting officers, he was crazy enough to make statements to the newspaper and to whoever, the judge, that he had 4 ounces of cocaine, not one or whatever, and that case disappeared. It disappeared because I saw him on the streets, and he was a big time dealer, and he was like rocking and rolling and everything. Yeah, I mean, so the thumbnail is, where's the drugs and money? I mean, the arresting officers know, and the defendant knows, and a lot of them would get bribed. A lot of the mafia people bribed the local people. They'd pick up their packages. Detectives, district attorneys, and some district attorneys, like with the mafia and stuff like that, they just wanted to, some were cowboys and they wanted to bust everything that moves, but some of them didn't want to prosecute a case against a mafia crime member. Some of them just didn't even want to mess with that. I mean, 99.9 times out of 99.9% of the time, the mafia people didn't go after the attorneys or their families and stuff like that. Some things were left sacred where they didn't. There was a couple times, but it was the mentality sometimes of some of these district attorneys that just were like, no, we got other cases to do. We're not going to get involved in all that. They don't want any trouble. But come on, have a cup of coffee with me and subscribe and hit the like button and make a comment. I'm pumping these videos out. I'm not stopping, and I enjoy doing it, and I appreciate your support. So, and I do these by the seat of my pants. Whatever comes to mind. So, and like I said earlier, I don't have nothing against law enforcement. They risk their necks out there in the trenches, and I had good friends that were in law enforcement, and I'm from a military family, and I try to support the government when they're doing things right. But I also know very intimately and personally that some do things wrong. But those are rare instances. Everybody wants to bash, everybody wants to do this and that. But yeah. But when something goes wrong, you call 911 right away. You don't call your friend that you've been talking smack to about this and that. No, you call them up that you bash. Yeah, you call 911. You need the police. Boom, boom, boom. So, man, a loss of words. Yeah, I fly by the seat of my pants, but sometimes the plane goes, Mayday, Mayday. Jojo doesn't have anything to say. You better come up with something quick, or this video is crash landing. But I like to have a little fun, throw some things out there, and that's a nice score. And when I was with working for some of the crime families, you would hear different stories about a lot of different stuff, and things that make you say and you wonder, wow. I was young and green, and I was pretty sharp, but there was things that went on that I found out about that surprised me. It's like, geez, is there anything sacred? And no, the answer is no. Sometimes there's nothing sacred in this world, and it's sad. It's sad. We all want a better society. We all want this and that, but that's life. That's life. And I try to tell my viewers, stay strong. Don't pay attention to all that stuff. If there's corrupt policemen out there or corrupt politicians and all this, yeah, we should be aware of it. Just use your right to vote to put the right people in there, but don't trip on it. I got a YouTube channel. I'm trying to have content and I'm trying to trip about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, don't trip on this stuff. It pisses you off, because they are hired public servants that the taxpayers pay their wages. So law enforcement works for you, the citizens, and you have a right to demand accountability. Yeah, I understand that. So, and is due process with crooked people, is that enough? Is the due process, and are they handled correctly? Are they prosecuted correctly and efficiently? And do they pay the price for it? I imagine, yeah. And some get let go because that money and those backdoor deals, when some judge or district attorney personally, and it's like, how much will it cost for this to go away? And they'll come up with a set amount, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000 if it's a more high profile case. And evidence gets lost. Somehow evidence gets lost. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no case. So, I mean, I would see guys in the crime families, and I would hear about, Tony or John or Rick or something. Oh, something happened, but you wouldn't get the full story. And it would sound like it was some pretty serious stuff because the FBI, those sentences or whatever for anything, if they start off at 20 years and you'd hear about the gossip that somebody got pinched or somebody got into a bad situation, and then you'd go to an event or something or a party or a clam bake where everybody's around. It's like, there's the dude right there. Jeez. I thought he was going, you don't ask questions. No. You just let it ride because he paid somebody off. They will pay $100,000. They will pay whatever it takes for their freedom. Make the case go away. And the local law enforcement detectives are more interacting. Of course, they're locally. The FBI is more removed, but they got surveillance and more tapping. So you got the local detectives watching certain people, but then you got the FBI federal that is watching. And, so you're more apt to make deals with the local people, law enforcement, than the FBI, even though there was corrupt FBI agents too. But normally speaking, that would be, so you could see a district attorney or a detective or something comes in, they 2 or 3 come in, and you're guilty. You're guilty right off the bat. And then all of a sudden the money, back then, you got to realize, folks, back then, these salaries for police officers, detectives, district attorneys, judges, and the FBI, their salaries weren't all that great. I mean, if you look up the data and information for what these law enforcement people and public officials made, it was probably 18 to 22,000. Maybe that was good back in 1985, 1995. But when somebody comes and says in so many words and it's communicated, I got 50,000 for you. You know, there's 50,000. You know what I'm talking about. There's 50,000. Make it go away. Make this case go away. There's 100,000. Make that. You'd have to work 5 years to earn that kind of money. So it went on more than you'll ever see. And you grab ounces of cocaine and other drugs and this and that, and it could go up to $100,000. And where you find drugs, there's usually money stashed somewhere. It doesn't get deposited in the local bank. And these guys made big scores. And it's like the criminal is thinking, yeah, you got my drugs and everything, but you took my money. And you were unbribable. You were unbribable because you just want to rob it all. But the retaliation in New York City was very minimal against detectives and law enforcement and judges. And the FBI was very secure. So, they told me I had a lot of marijuana, and they told me they would have threw it in the snowbank, but people came on the scene and everything else. And they had to charge me. But it was like they stopped the car under false pretenses because I was being white in the ghetto. And they just said, well, or whatever, their information was on me, and my car got pulled over, and I was with a Afro-American friend of mine, and then it all went down like that. And then I had it all inside, but it was an illegal stop. It was an illegal search and seizure, and they didn't report the whole amount of weight that I had, which was fine with me. But it's like, you're robbing the criminals, huh? If you're robbing the criminal and you're in law enforcement, you're lower than me. You're lower than me. But I respect law enforcement and the men in blue. Anyways, just based on isolated incidences and media and everything, I'm a thinking person. So those are my thoughts. I get scattered. I get video ideas and everything else. And I just wanted to put that down. I saw a couple things on TV, then my mind goes crazy. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let's do a video. Where's the drugs and money? I mean, it's just human nature, good versus evil. It's biblical. Temptation, and everything else. Motivation, the love of money. So, that's that. I got other ideas for videos and everything, and I do appreciate it. I kept saying I had 39 subscribers. The number was wrong. It was lower than that. I guess it was wishful thinking. On my last video, I was up like, oh, we're up to X amount of subscribers. Well, we weren't, but we're getting there, okay? We can do it. So that's that. I do different content, different subject matters, and then I always throw in the spirituality with the Jesus Calling devotion. And so nonetheless, you always get the Jesus Calling devotion, a little helpful psychology to go through your day, and then try to have an entertaining, interesting story. So I hope I can entertain you in that fashion. And for the people I have out there that watch these, that's good enough. That's good enough. Okay. I'm very satisfied and happy with that. So, you've heard it before. I want to send a good message. And if I could help one person with the spiritual aspect of my videos, that's good enough for me. Depression and stress and mental health illnesses are running rapid. So I try to lift people up a little. So one of the vehicles I use, other than my brain and my intellect and my intelligence, forgive me, is the Jesus Calling. One paragraph. It's a daily devotion, one for each day of the year. So today's August 8th. I speak to you deep as heaven. You hear me in the depths of your being. Deep calls unto deep. You are blessed to hear me so directly. Never take this privilege for granted. The best response is a heart overflowing with gratitude. We should live a life with be a little more centered in thankfulness. Be thankful that you woke up. Be thankful for what you have. Don't be pissed off because you don't have a Maserati and a mansion. Don't be pissed off because you don't have a Maserati or a Cadillac or a mansion. I am training you to cultivate a thankful mindset. Yes, this is like building your house on a firm rock where life's storms cannot shake you. As you learn these lessons, you are to teach them to others. I'm trying to teach them. Perfect. I will open up the way before you one step at a time. Excuse me. I trust in that. God saved me when I was in a crisis, life threatening. So I trust in that because I've seen it. Reality. I'm here, living proof. I was dead. I'm here, living proof. So I trust in that. I look at the spirituality through a different lens because I went full circle with it. I was raised a Christian and everything, and you only put so much credence into it as you go up through your adulthood and everything else. And then when I overdosed and went down, and the experience I had when I was dead, and then when I came back, I was like, the stuff was real. But I'm not going to force that in your throat. I'm just going to try to entertain you, do a little spirituality stuff, whether you're a Christian or not. It's just good psychology. And, if you hook up with God, gotta have your back. What are your other tools or vehicles you use to stay strong, to grow and be and be positive? We're all gonna die someday. We're all gonna die. What are the things we can look at or turn away from that will enhance us to have a better life and love and compassion for our fellow people? But it's hard. It's hard to have unconditional love. It's hard. It's hard. But we could be aware of it. And once you're aware of something, you can make a change. So that's the process. And we're getting there. Like I said, I appreciate every viewer that comes on here. You are valuable and have confidence. You're a child of God. That means something. And that's why I always say at the end of my videos, be the kings and queens of your world. Stay great, stay blessed, and stay safe. Because you are, okay? And I'll have another video. It's coming very, very soon. And we'll unpack it and we'll see what's going on with the topic and whatever the devotion is. So that's it for today. Thanks for coming in. Share the video. I never say that. Share the video if you like me, and maybe your friend might like me. Please like me. Comment and subscribe and stay great because you're God's child. I'll check you out tomorrow, folks. You have a great day. Get out there and enjoy Mother Nature and whatever God's got to offer you. All right? I'll talk to you then. Bye.